New England Candlepins is made possible through the generous support of the U.S. Candlepin Bowling Association. Learn more at uscandlepin.com. By Fico's Family Bowladrome in Franklin, Massachusetts. Visit ficosbowl.com. By your community's public access channel. And by your Franklin friends and neighbors. Good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.
From Fico's Bowladrome in Franklin, Massachusetts, it's New England Candlepins Fall Tournament 2014. In our first Elite Eight matchup, Walpole's Dave Chestercove takes on Richie Myric. Then in round two, Matt Rich from Franklin takes on Nick Norcross from Woburn. Now let's roll with your host, Jay Horrigan.
Hi everyone, welcome to New England Candlepins and Fico's Bowladrome in Franklin, Massachusetts. Today is our Elite Eight show, or as Richie Myric likes to call it, our quarterfinals. Today is our first match between Dave Chestercove and Richie Myric. Both of them qualified by winning their Sweet 16 match. Dave Chestercove beating Sean Sears by a score of 134 to 89, and Richie Myric beating Wayne Palumbo Jr. by a score of 135 to 130. So, Richie, you rolled the 135. Dave, you rolled the 134. You're separated by one pin. Interesting. Both of you have co-hosted the show with me before. That's interesting. I've got nothing else that's interesting. Dave, you looking forward to today's match?
Sure, why not? It's bowling.
Okay. How have you been bowling?
Been bowling pretty good.
Excellent. Obviously, you won.
Likewise, yeah, I did. So did he.
Yeah, but we're not sure how he won. Your pinfall's better than it was. You were saying when you went up against Sean, your pinfall hadn't been that great, but you did get the pinfall against Sean.
Yeah, hopefully it happens again today.
And your mechanics. Remember, we talked about your mechanics. Hopefully your mechanics are still working for you.
That would be awesome.
It's fortunately I pointed that out and I was able to correct the mechanics, huh?
That's good. I'm glad I got you there.
That's from the lesson you and Richie gave me back a few months ago, huh?
That's good, yeah.
Absolutely. Richie, how's the baseball going?
Well, it's the season's over, but it was terrific.
It was
just terrific.
Good. Awesome. Anything to say about your bowling?
I bowled well in the last match a couple episodes ago against Wayne Palumbo Jr. It was an exciting match, and I hope Dave and I have an exciting match. And I'm looking for a little payback from last time. Dave got me on the program a couple programs ago, so I'm gonna look to stuff it back out.
I don't blame you, Dave. Obviously, you've won our program twice?
That's correct.
Yeah, of course. Not one to deny that, huh? There he is showing off, huh? You showed off last show, he'll show off this show. Couple of show-offs here. So we'll be back with our first match of the day in our quarterfinal show. We're not going to call it Elite Eight because Richie would like us to call it quarterfinal. We'll be back with that match in just a moment.
What is community without community support? Without community access? Without communication that creates a common bond? You can make community by making community TV. Contact your public access community TV center. Learn how you can help, because you can. Volunteer today. When you support your community TV, you also support your community.
We're back for our first match of our quarterfinal show. First up is going to be Dave Chestercove. Gentlemen, best of luck to Dave. And Richie, I'm sorry. Did that sound one-sided?
Ed, this should be a great match. We are joined again by Ed Dunn, and I apologize that I got caught up. Great shot by Dave. Ed, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be back for the Elite Eight, Jay.
Looked like Dave caught the head pin there, right?
Flush on the pocket, leaving just the 6-pin for a spare. Picks it right up.
Dave, in his qualifying match, bowled a 134, right? To get here, yeah.
Again on the head pin. This time it's a strike. Great second shot.
Dave, a two-time champion of New England Candlepins, here at Fico's Bolodrome in Franklin, Massachusetts.
So he's won a third of the competitions that he's participated in.
Absolutely.
Impressive.
And as we said in our first show of the series, he's one of the few bowlers to make every single show. I don't know. Richie with an 8 pins down so far. I don't know if he's the only one that has made every show. He may be.
Richie starts off with a 9, coming over to lane 16, behind by a spare and opposite a strike.
And Dave Chestercove in his familiar position of looking at the ground while his opponent bowls.
Flush on the head pin, leaving the 6, 7, 10 no good to help.
Richie has 17 through 2 frames, and Dave has 30 of working on a strike.
He can create a very good advantage for himself with this frame. First ball nets him 6, leaving the 2, 4, 6, 7 with no wood.
Now, Ed, is Dave, I know you bowl in leagues with Dave, right?
Not with him, no.
Okay.
Only in competitions with him.
Is he just, when you bowl against him, is he just, when you get up against him, is he just intimidating because he's so good? Or it's amazing how much success he has.
Let me think about that before I answer it. Phil of 7 on the strike and a 9 in the box for 46. When high average bowlers walk into a league format, there are bowlers that aren't bowling as well that say, uh-oh,
right.
that guy's going
right.
to ruin us. Or, man, I hope I end up being on his team because my average isn't that good.
Right.
And then you feel good having that person in your league because they're on your team.
Right.
When you have people of equal high average competing against each other, there's a little bit of gamesmanship to want to be the best. There's a little bit of,
right.
That little in-house rivalry that says, I want to be better than you, or, I've seen you on TV. If I can go against you and win tonight, it's a feather in my cap kind of a thing. So there are people that can be intimidated by a high average bowler walking in. I would venture to say that everybody that we see in this entire series would not be intimidated by anybody else who walks in, because they're pretty much all equal in their ability and talent.
Dave with an 8 in that box for 54 total through 4 frames.
But I think to give Dave a little bit of credit, because he's been on every show, when you walk into a roll-off and you see James Chestercove walk in, you're thinking, well, there's one spot gone.
Right.
Because he's going to take one, because he's taking one every other time.
Right.
So now you've only got 15 spots to fight for.
Right.
And you see Richie Myric walk in and say, oh man, why can't they just sit behind the 9 pin co-host? And that's 2 spots
Right.
gone. Now
Right.
there's 14 to shoot
Right.
for.
Yeah, there's certain guys that you know for the most part, odds are pretty good that they're going to take a spot.
Mm-hmm. $7 for Richie. Then you see a guy like Steve Reno in our last series, who was, or a couple series ago, it was a 15 seed.
Right.
And he was one of the best people to walk into that establishment, but his first time with Ficos didn't go well for him. But then he rebounded when he came back to compete and made it all the way to the final. Right on the head pin flush, but leaving only the kingpin with wood behind it. And picks up the spare. It's still a 20-pin deficit. They've matched so far. Richie has a chance to cut into that lead next time up and forcing Dave to mark to keep pace with that difference and advantage. Right on the pocket, leaving the 9-10 with no wood. A very difficult shot to make.
Both these guys, I must say, because they're both set up here, helped us out with shows. They helped behind the scenes.
There it is! A beautiful shot by Dave Chestercove. Catches the 10-pin on the inside, cuts it right straight against the wall with enough power to roll back and knock down the 9-pin. In the old days, that would be called superlative.
Then we can call it that word. Superlative. Very good. These guys, and I know Dave is involved and Richie involved with the USCBA, which is a sponsor of ours. And both of them very helpful in getting them involved with us here, helping us bring the tournament.
Absolutely.
They're both just great guys, and they're fun guys, so that's why it's easy for me to. They don't mind when I pick on them.
You can't have anybody that's not great and fun up here because that
Right.
would not make the show not great
Right.
and not fun. 6 fill on the spare, 8 in the box for 78 after 6 for Dave Chestercove.
And you know what? It's all these guys, and I say it every time we do a series. You know, the bowlers. It's a great community of people. You know, they encourage each other.
Ooh, boy.
They're supportive of their competitor when they're up there bowling. And Dave, even though he doesn't watch, he's supportive.
Red Eagle minus the 7 pin, convert to the right side, leaving the 2-4 now for a 10. And he went wide right. He made up ground on his spare. He was against the spare. And now he's opposite another spare. That had a fill of 6 on it, so he's lost some more pins now. Loose on the 1-2 pocket, but have enough momentum to carry the 9-pin, leaving the 3-7 with badly shaped wood. This may not help him at all. The only way I think that front piece of wood's going to carry is if he catches the far right corner of the cap and spins it into the 3-pin to knock that towards the 7-pin. He might take the ball off the left corner of the wood and try to catch the 7-pin. Let's see. Oh. Had the right idea, but couldn't convert the spin.
Just spun around it.
Just went right around. And in that case, you're behind, and you've got 1 pin with a piece of wood in front and 1 pin without it. You're going to take the one with the piece of wood and grab the 9 and get the extra pin. Advantage is now up to 22 after the mark that Dave put up in the 5th. There's that spin we were talking about. There's the momentum. There's the turn. Everything but the 10 pin on a delayed possible strike. Plenty of wood in front for Dave. And picks it up for the spare. No know, a few weeks ago when we had these two playing in their Sweet 16 match, I would call it, they were able to beat their opponents, and we had the uniqueness of the four of us that help on the show,
Yeah.
or three of us as bowlers, working together, and now several weeks later we're back for this round. There's a strike by Dave Chestercove. Caught me mid-thought. Beautiful shot, no doubt about it. And now we're all back again a few weeks later to bowl them against each other, so it's more of a looser show today because we've got everybody who knows what's going on behind them being talked about while they're up here bowling at the same time. Dave is really pouring it on right now. Richie with the diamond left plus the 7-10 and a piece of wood behind the 5-pin. Feels like I'm warming up my chair for Richie to come back and join you for the second half of the Elite Eight show. And an 8 box. Now, I saw you talking with them off camera before our show started. Did you make a little side bet that the loser has to sit up here with you, or is that why Dave's bowling so
No,
well?
I am sure that's why he's bowling well. I'm sure that's why Richie is frustrated that he's bowling poorly because they were hoping to tie, so neither of them would have to sit up here.
Okay, well that would make sense. I wouldn't mind working with you by ourselves. We've done that for so long before I had to take a small leave of absence. It's great to be back. Trying to convert the spread eagle, and he put it right through the bunny hole. 40-pin advantage for Dave with 2 frames to go. Minus this ball. And a 7. So we make the turn for home. Dave Chestercove with 108 plus 2 shots to throw. Richie Myric with a 71. 37-pin advantage plus the fill for Dave going into the end is going to all but lock this match up right now. And another strike for Dave Chestercove. A double strike in the 8th with a chance to throw a triple. One had 135, one had 134, and clearly Dave does not want to have a 1-pin advantage this time. He wants a bigger advantage. For the triple off the wall, the wood's rolling. We got the 7-8 left rocking, but no, an 8-pin drop. 28 fill in the 8th box for Dave Chestercove. He's well on his way to a 170 plus right now.
For someone who wasn't having the pins falling for him coming into this series, the 2 matches he's bowled, they have fallen.
I take that back. The wood did not help him at all in that case. Absolute shocker. Not that it's going to affect the match, but he was well on his way to having one of the highest games ever on our show. And that piece of wood just got right in the way of that. A great 153 game, an awesome score, but it will not be the best we've seen. But it's one of the best we've seen.
One of the best,
sure.
yeah. Top 5.
Absolutely. So it's a win-win. You get one host that you have to release for a time, and one gets to come back and join you for the next match. So they both get to win something out of it. One gets to stay on TV to help you, and one gets to be on TV to play for the chance for the championship. That's part of that fraternity you were talking about these bowlers.
That's
even
right.
between shots, they're telling each other how they didn't do what they're supposed to do, and no animosity here, but clearly Richie's not happy bowling the game that he bowled, but
No.
several weeks ago they were doing really well, and now you come back for a 1-game roll-off, basically. Great spear to wrap this up with a diamond right, taking the 5-pin off the wall to come back and get the 6. At least he's ending impressively. But you come back several weeks later and you've got one chance to bowl one game, and you're either on or you're off.
And that's the difference between our television shows and the qualifying, where the qualifying you've got the 3 games.
9 dropped to wrap it up and a 106. So in between Richie's 2 matches, he went back and played some baseball, and apparently it affected him.
It absolutely did. So our first Elite Eight / quarterfinal match is over, and Dave Chestercove is going to come away as the winner, 153 to Richie Myric's 106. And we'll be back to talk to the bowlers in just a moment.
Back with our bowlers for our second match in our Elite Eight show. First of all, Matt Rich, you're going to be taking on Nick Norcross. How you feeling? You ready?
Yeah, feeling okay. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
You had a nice win to get you here. You bowled well. You won the score I have 108 to 94.
Yeah, it was a close one, but just barely squeaked that one out. So. No, we'll see what happens this time around.
Excellent. And Nick, you had a great match to get here, beating Fred. You had not so great match through the first 7 frames, and then your 8th, 9th, and 10th frames were fantastic.
Yeah, it was crazy. Fred kept putting up the marks, and I kept missing my objects, but I kept pinning, and get a little closer and closer, and finally got the spare and then filled it good and then pulled it off.
Well, it doesn't matter how you got here, you're here. So you're here in our quarterfinals, and we'll be back with the match in just a moment.
And we're ready for our second match today, and it's going to be Matt Rich against Nick Norcross, and I am again thrilled to be joined by Dave Chestercove. I'm thrilled to have Dave Chestercove with me, and not so thrilled to have Richie Myric with me.
Who would?
What did I do to you guys? What did I do? I show up. I just show up. I do my job. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh man, the bus you're throwing me under is enormous.
Yeah, but the wheels are tiny. Mac opening up with a spread eagle. Gets 2 on the left, looking to clean this up.
It's a good 9.
Matt beating Ken Spicone in his first round match.
Matt right on the pocket. Matt got here by defeating Ken Spicone in our Sweet 16 with the score 108 to 94. And Nick got here by defeating Fred Spintig Jr. in a spectacular match of 115 to 114.
Yeah, that was a heck of a match.
That opens up with 19. Nick looking to capitalize by starting the way he finished a few weeks ago. Decided to wear the same shirt. Right in the pocket. Leaves the diamond right.
At least he hit it, the head pin there.
Oh, wow.
One thing I noticed is that, and you two showed it in the semifinal match before this, or the Sweet 16, I'm sorry, Richie, the quarterfinal match.
Quarterfinals, yeah. Whatever you like.
The non-Elite 8 match, that you bowlers don't have a lot of clothes.
Nope.
You wear the same shirts.
We're very superstitious.
You wear the same clothes in every show.
Very superstitious.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we do tape these programs pretty close together.
That is true. We
What?
definitely do that.
They're weeks apart, weeks and weeks apart.
Oh yeah, they're weeks and weeks.
Don't break down that fourth wall.
So Nick has done his laundry, and he's wearing the same attire as it was in the last
Looking
program.
for the spare. Wow, nearly
almost took
converts
out
the
the Caleri, yeah.
You know what it must be is you bowlers. I'm sure you do your laundry. You just forget to mark your calendar as to what you wore on a specific day.
No, like I said, I'm pretty superstitious. I usually like to go with the same shirt that I won previously. If I
So
for
you
each
must
season.
not have many shirts.
No, I don't. I got about 6. Matt, right in the 1-3 pocket, drops the check mark left.
See if we can bring in our first mark of the match here.
Almost converts. Matt with a good 9. It's 28 through 3.
Nice ball by Matt.
Matt dropping 9.
There's a good working ball there.
Wants that free. Ideally, would like the front one to get out of the way to the one that's moving, and it does. And oh my goodness.
Anywhere but there.
Well, he cleans it up for a 10.
It's a good 10. That stick can get a little skinny after you have a tough little break like that. That piece of wood was definitely not in his favor.
No, you still have to be on the pin. Nick says, "Thank you very much. I'm going to throw a strike now."
I don't think he said thank you, Dave.
Well,
I think he just threw that strike.
If he did say it, he said it very quietly.
Nick's a pretty quiet, easygoing fella.
And Dave has tremendous hearing to have heard him say that.
oh, he said it in his head, and I heard it. I have ESP. Nick looking for the double. Nearly gets it, just leaving the 7 pin. Not really any wood out there to help. I think we'll go right at it.
Oh, just something to look at. Right in the face here.
And like Matt, he missed it right. Decides to play the wood that time, and no luck there.
So through 4 frames, Nick Norcross has a 8-pin lead.
That is right.
46-38. Correct?
That is
Is that what you
correct.
have?
That is exactly what I have.
And I
Matt.
have what he has.
Looking for a hammer of his own, and there it is. Matt with a pretty strike, right in the 1-3 pocket.
Again, he seems to throw marks when he needs to throw marks.
Let's see if he can roll that nice same smooth ball again on 15.
I mean, there was no question about that ball right there.
Looking for the double. Oh,
might
he's
get
going to
it.
leave the 7 pin. It's 3 times in a row on lane 15.
That's right.
Let's see if he's got a short memory here.
Sure does.
Sure does. You're right, Richie. Drills it this time for the big spare. Puts 2 big marks up against up there, forcing Nick to get at least 1 to stay with him. Nick right in the 1-2 pocket, drops 9. Beautiful piece of wood.
That's a big time break. He was looking at the 3, 4, and 6, and then that 10 pin just came back and toppled over the 6 into the 3, and left the 3 right there. And he plays it.
And there he is.
Three in a row for our bowlers.
Nick's second mark of the match.
Nick on the fill. Oh, right on the 2 pin. Drops 4.
His nemesis.
I was doing that a couple weeks ago against Fred.
Yeah, weeks and weeks.
looking to clean this up for a $10 here.
You'd be happy with 8 or 9 here. Just to try to stay level. 8 will keep him level.
And he gets 8. So we have a tie match at the moment, but Matt is working on a spare. So Matt will take the lead.
Very important ball here. Matt taking his time.
Gets 5. Leaves the Cleary right. Chops the head pin straight back. And gets an $8.
He took out 2.5 there.
Yeah. All right, Matt looking to put up a mark going in the last 2 frames, give himself some momentum here.
If his track record says anything, I got him for a spare right here. You can put it down.
All right. Right in the 1-2 pocket. Leaves the triangle right, the 3-5-6. No wood. Threw some mustard on it and missed left.
One of these days, I'll be right.
I'm thinking he's going to get a mark in the 10th lap. That ball he was a little more smooth on and deliberate,
there,
and it was right on the money.
Leaves the door open for Norcross, though. See if Nick can zone back in on that head pin.
Right in the 1-2 pocket. Drops 8, leaves the 3-6. Oh, wow. Just by the 3-pin, takes out the 6. Nick wasting no time on the 3rd ball, doesn't want to think about it anymore, I guess. Makes the 10. Down just by 3 pins. But he is opposite a $10 here.
Four horsemen left. The 1, 2, 4, and 7.
There he goes.
Like what?
And there are no 4 horsemen left.
Pretty when it goes. There it goes, right in the 1-2 pocket, runs them all down. Very
Huge mark
nice
there.
shot.
3-pin match.
That's the mark he needed. So, last 2 frames for both bowlers.
Yeah, right in the 1-2 pocket of himself. Drops 8. Leaves the 6-10. He's got 3 pieces of wood around this. Well, now just 2 pieces of wood
Make it
around
2,
the
and you know what? They
6
aren't very good.
No, you really have to play the shot like the wood ain't even there, I think. Just try to hit the front one.
You can see the cap pointing right at your screen. I think that's where he's going to try to go here.
That's where I'd be going. Oh, he got by it. Wow.
I'm telling you I'm going to be right one of these days.
Have to see that on replay there. He hit the left wood first. Ball deflected into the 6 and took out the 10 pin.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see that one.
From our angle, I thought that wood was dead,
I
but
thought so
he
too.
saw
I thought it was too far back.
he was looking right at it, so he knew better than us, I guess. Oh, it gets that big important 5 pin to fall, so he gets the
Very
not only the
important.
5 fill, but a pretty good chance at another mark here. Right in the 1-3 pocket, should run the cluster down. Oh, just by on the 3 pin. All important sticks.
Yeah, these are important. It's a
Considering
tough call here. Do you just go for 2? Do you think you go for 3 here, Dave?
Yeah, I'd probably go for 2. And he does.
150.
So I'll be happy getting 2, getting the 9 box, and force Nick to put a good fill in this box.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to force him to go 8 and a pair of 10s. Or better.
Nick right in the 1-2 pocket drops 9, leaving just the 3. It's a big fill.
Big ball here.
Looking for the spare. He drills
Yes,
it.
All over it.
So Nick has 107 currently.
Yep.
Yep, barring a half Worcester or any
Technically
other,
up a pin, but still gotta fill it. Wow. Drops
That'll
5.
be enough.
Yep, still gonna be enough.
So Nick Norcross will win this match.
Just no matter
Which,
what
when
will the
you
final
think-
score
when
be.
when you think about it, Nick was bowling
It's a 7.
fairly poorly against Fred until that 8th frame. Fred had him. Till the 8th frame.
Till the 8th frame.
And
But
now he's going to advance to the final 4 with the final score here of 119 to 115 over Matt Rich. You know it's a great comeback.
That's 2 victories to advance to the final 4 by a total of 5 pins for Nick Norcross.
Right,
So he's keeping
right.
it interesting, if nothing else.
Absolutely. So Nick Norcross is going to advance with a victory over Matt Rich, 119 to 115. And we'll be back to talk to our bowlers in just a moment.
So we're back with our bowlers after our second match of this Elite 8 show, and it was a tremendous match between Matt Rich and Nick Norcross. Matt, you had a great match. You bowled a 115. You bowled well. Just Nick was just a few pins better.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. Yeah, you're right. Nick had a great game, and he's a good bowler, so he deserves to move on.
Well, and you bowled well. I think you've got to be relatively happy. Just like you said, just a couple of pins short.
Yeah, it seems to happen to me on this show, doesn't it? But yeah, I felt like I was bowling a good ball. It wasn't hitting everything that I wanted to, but most of the time, it was fine, and just came up a little short.
It did. It's, you know what? Maybe it's just a matter of time. But here you go. For advancing this far, you do win $30, and we appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon on our next show, okay?
All right, thank you.
And Nick, congratulations, a 119. As Richie said, between your victory over Fred and your win right here, total of 5 pins. So at least you're keeping everything interesting.
Yeah, at least, getting over the hump, it's all that matters.
That's right. All you have to do is win. I was saying that, to those guys that, up through the first 7 frames of your match with Fred, you couldn't hit the head pin. But since then, you've been on and you've bowled extremely well.
Yeah, better this show. Matt and I had a good match, kept going back and forth, kept throwing marks back and forth at each other. It was really good.
So as a result, you do advance to our Final 4 show, and you'll be one of 4 bowlers that have a chance to compete for the championship and the overall title, New England Candlepins. So that's great, and you do win $100. Here you go there. And like I said, you do get a chance to come back. You're a second person to qualify. The other one so far is Dave Chestercove. You're the second one, and next week we'll be back with our second Elite 8 show. We'll qualify 2 more bowlers for our championship that will come up in a couple of weeks. So for Richie Myric and Dave Chestercove and our director Matt Ferrara, I'm Jay Horrigan, and we'll see you next week on New England Candlepins.
This program was made possible by your Franklin friends and neighbors, good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.